What if I told you that the very moments when she frustrates you, when she pulls back, when she questions you endlessly, are not accidents, but deliberate patterns written deep inside her psychology? You feel that tightening in your chest, that silent question in your mind. Why is she doing this? Why can't she just trust me? And yet, the harder you try to answer her doubts with words, the more it feels like you're falling into quicksand. Men everywhere experience this, from the guy who's been dating her for 3 weeks to the husband who has been married for 20 years. The same tests, the same tension, the same sense that she is measuring something invisible in you. And here's the truth you were never meant to fully understand. Women test patience not to break you, but to reveal you. She doesn't announce it. She doesn't hand you a checklist. She simply creates small storms, delays, disagreements, sudden silence, because she wants to see how you respond when the world isn't flattering you. Do you stay grounded, or do you collapse into frustration? Do you hold your center, or do you lose yourself in anger? These are not casual behaviors, they are primal. At the deepest level, a woman's security in a man is not built from flowers, compliments, or grand gestures. It's built in those quiet, high-pressure moments when your reaction speaks louder than any gift could. Think back. The last time she got upset over something small, maybe a late reply, maybe a misunderstood tone. What did you do? Did you defend yourself aggressively? Did you shut down and withdraw? Or did you breathe, listen, and remain unshaken? That, right there, is the hidden test. And here's the hardest part. She often isn't fully aware she's doing it. It's not manipulation in the way you think. It's instinct. An instinct that whispers, "Can I trust this man's frame when life becomes chaotic? Will he still be solid when everything else falls apart?" This is why some men never escape the cycle of arguments, while others create a presence so steady she cannot help but lean into it. If you've ever felt like she's pushing your buttons on purpose, it's because she is. But it's not about cruelty, it's about clarity. She wants to see who you truly are beneath the mask you show the world. And if you can't withstand her storms, how will you withstand life's storms with her by your side? Every man believes he will handle these tests well until he's in the middle of one. You picture yourself calm, collected, maybe even laughing off her moods. But in reality, when she rolls her eyes, questions your choices, or suddenly grows cold, something inside you snaps. Your pride starts screaming. You feel the urge to fight back, to prove her wrong, to restore control with words or anger. And that's exactly the moment she sees the part of you that you try to hide, the part that loses composure when challenged. Understand this: women don't just test with words. They test with silence, with timing, with energy shifts so subtle you wonder if you imagined them. One late reply from her, and suddenly your mind is racing with paranoia. One vague comment, and you're spiraling into doubt. That spiral isn't just in your head. She notices it too. Here's the harsh reality. The moment you get pulled into that spiral, you fail. Not because you're weak, but because you've shown her that your emotions are not under your command. Think about it. Why would a woman give her trust, her body, her future to a man whose peace depends on her constant reassurance? If your mood rises and falls with her reactions, you are not leading, you're following. And deep down, no woman feels safe following a man who collapses at the first sign of friction. This is why patience is everything. Not passive patience where you pretend you don't care, but active patience, the kind that says, "I see the storm, and I choose not to be moved by it." Women are drawn to that energy because it separates you from almost every other man she's encountered. The average man argues, over-explains, or sulks. The rare man breathes, listens, and answers without hurry. That's the man she feels magnetically pulled toward, even if she can't explain why. You see, her tests are less about the surface argument and more about the deeper question. Can this man handle me? Can this man handle life? And here's the painful truth. You only prove you can handle her by showing you can handle yourself. She doesn't want perfection. She doesn't need flawless answers. She wants to feel the weight of your steadiness when her emotions are spiraling. That, more than anything, is what convinces her she's safe with you. Most men misunderstand what patience in a relationship truly means. They think it's about tolerating everything she does, letting things slide, or quietly absorbing frustration until it explodes later. But that's not patience. That's weakness disguised as virtue. Real patience is power under control. It's the ability to respond without being dragged into chaos, to hold your frame without needing to dominate hers. Women sense this distinction immediately. If your patience comes from fear, fear of losing her, fear of conflict, fear of being alone, she will feel it and she will lose respect for you. But if your patience comes from strength, from a calm conviction that you cannot be easily shaken, that's when she begins to relax into you. Here's a hidden truth few men realize. When she tests you, she is not asking you to win the argument. She is asking you to win yourself. She wants to see if you can remain centered while standing in the fire. That's why sometimes she will provoke you over something meaningless. It's not the topic that matters, it's your reaction. Will you rage? Will you retreat? Or will you calmly look her in the eyes, steady in tone and body, and show that you are still the same man she first admired? Think about the men women secretly crave. They're not the ones who flinch at the first sign of tension, nor are they the ones who shout to prove dominance. They're the ones who make her feel as if no matter what storm she brings, he will remain unbroken. That steadiness is rare. That steadiness is what separates the man she tests from the man she trusts. And make no mistake, trust is the foundation. Without it, attraction fades, intimacy weakens, and resentment grows. With it, she becomes softer, more open, more devoted than you imagined possible. This is the paradox men don't see. The more you try to escape her tests, the more they intensify. But when you embrace them, not as attacks but as opportunities to show your calm strength, they begin to fade. Because once she sees your steadiness is real, she no longer needs to keep searching for proof. And in that moment, something shifts. Her guard lowers, her loyalty deepens, her respect becomes unshakable. You may wonder why women rely on these hidden tests instead of simply asking for reassurance. Why not just say, "I need to know you're dependable"? The answer lies in psychology far older than language itself. For thousands of years, women's survival depended on their ability to sense whether a man could remain stable under pressure. Words could be lies, promises could be broken, but patience, composure, and steadiness under stress could not be faked for long. Her instincts are sharper than you realize. She doesn't just hear what you say, she feels what you radiate. That's why she can tell when your patience is forced, when you're silently seething beneath a fake calm. She reads your tone, your body language, the pauses in your voice. She doesn't need evidence. She trusts her intuition. This is why so many men fail without realizing it. They believe they're showing strength when they raise their voice, when they argue until she finally backs down. But what she feels in those moments isn't safety. It's instability. She sees a man whose emotions control him, not a man in control of his emotions. And here's the part that cuts deep. A woman may forgive a man for not being rich, for not being perfect, for making mistakes. But she will rarely forgive a man for being emotionally fragile, because emotional fragility is contagious. It spreads through the relationship until it breaks everything. When you remain patient, you're not just passing her test, you're sending a message. You're saying, "I am bigger than this moment. I am unshaken by temporary storms. I lead myself and therefore I can lead us." That message bypasses her logical mind and goes straight to her core instincts. It calms her. It softens her. It makes her feel like she has found something rare in a world full of men who crumble at the smallest push. But here is the brutal truth. If you consistently fail these tests, she will stop testing altogether. And you may think that's a relief, but it's not. Because the moment a woman stops testing, it often means she has already decided you're not worth investing in. Testing ends not when she's satisfied, but when she no longer cares about the result. That's when distance grows, attraction fades, and respect disappears. The cruel irony is that most men sabotage themselves when faced with these tests. Instead of demonstrating strength, they overcompensate with ego. They lecture her, talk down to her, or demand respect as if raising their voice could buy authority. But respect is never demanded. It's earned, and the more you try to force it, the faster it slips through your fingers. A woman doesn't want to follow a man who tries to control her through fear or dominance. She wants to follow a man who controls himself so powerfully that she can't help but trust him. That's why patience is not weakness, it's the highest form of dominance, because it proves you own the only thing that truly matters, yourself. Think back to the moments you lost your cool. Maybe she accused you unfairly, maybe she grew distant without reason, maybe she pressed your buttons until you exploded. At first, it felt justified, but what followed? Guilt, regret, distance. Every outburst chips away at the very thing you're trying to build, her belief in your steadiness. On the other hand, recall the times you stayed composed. She may have been fiery, emotional, even unreasonable, but you remained calm. What happened afterward? Usually, the storm passed. She softened. She leaned in. She respected you more, even if she never admitted it. That's the secret. Patience doesn't just keep the peace. It deepens attraction. Because here's what no one tells you. Women crave the man they cannot shake. Not the man who tries too hard to please. Not the man who collapses into anger. But the man who treats her tests as opportunities to prove he is unmoved by chaos. That man becomes unforgettable. That man becomes rare. And in a world where most men are reactive, rare is irresistible, but there's a cost. Remaining patient requires discipline. It means training yourself to pause before reacting, to breathe before answering, to refuse to let temporary emotions dictate permanent damage. Few men are willing to do this work. They'd rather chase quick fixes, scripted lines, or tricks to bypass her tests. But there are no shortcuts. You either master yourself or you remain at the mercy of her storms, and she will always know the difference. So why does she test your patience? Not because she enjoys watching you suffer, not because she wants to break you. She tests you because deep down her heart is wired to search for proof. Proof that you are steady, proof that you can carry weight, proof that when the storms of life hit harder than either of you expect, you won't fold. Understand this. Her tests are not walls to keep you out. They are doors, and only the man with the right presence, the right calm, the right patience can open them. Every sigh, every delay, every cold silence that drives you crazy is really her subconscious asking, "Can I feel safe with you?" And if you fail, if you let your frustration or insecurity take control, you answer her question without saying a word. But when you remain calm, when you keep your frame, when you look at her not with fear or rage but with steady strength, you send a signal she can't ignore. That's when her body softens, her guard lowers, and her love deepens. This is why patience is not passive, it's magnetic. The more solid you are, the more she can lean into you. The more unshaken you remain, the more she is drawn closer. It's not about winning arguments or proving points. It's about proving that you are bigger than the moment, that you are a man whose presence can be trusted no matter what waves crash against him. And trust me, once she knows that, once she feels it in her bones, you become more than just another man in her life. You become her anchor. But here's the question that matters now. Are you willing to train yourself for that? Are you willing to step into the discipline of patience, to master your emotions so completely that nothing and no one can shake you? Or will you keep falling into the same cycle of frustration, arguments, and regret? That choice is yours. Now I want to hear from you. Think back. What's the biggest test of patience a woman has ever put you through, and how did you respond? Drop your story in the comments because your experience might be exactly what another man needs to hear tonight. And if this spoke to you, hit that like button, subscribe for more truths they never wanted you to know, and share this with a friend who needs this message right now.